You know, you really do have to have guts to push the envelope, and I feel like that you've got to push the envelope and be a little uncomfortable, and then you'll realize how awesome it is. Oh, my name. So my name is Yancey Seibert Shearouse. Okay, spell that. You can't. So YSS, Interior Design, and we are in Augusta, and this is my client's house. And I have worked with them for many years. I worked with them on their other house, and so they were looking for a larger house. They had 2 children, and the other house was before they had children. And so when they found this, we knew we had a project. I've been here for a little over 20 years, but I'm from Mississippi, and so I started my firm in Mississippi. So I went to Ole Miss, graduated from Ole Miss, started working in my parents' living room that had the bay window with the windows like in this dining room and had fantastic light, and I really just drew. And so I've learned how to do a lot more stuff in the last 30 years. The longevity of this house, it's evident in the fact that it's been here since, I don't know, probably 1905. I mean, it was a nice house. It was not updated, so we really did have to touch everything. The kitchen was a rumble jumble in the middle of the house with no natural light. The side lights were installed to have like windows in the kitchen, but they looked into the foyer. It was a mess. So we ripped it all off. We kept the original house and then ripped off all of the stuff that was the added mess. It was a mess. So they've been here since 2020, and then we finished everything in May of 2022. Okay, so my 5 design principles that I've used for the last almost 30 years really haven't changed, and so it helps direct what I do. Decorate what you see. So if I don't see it yet, then it's not a priority. We can work on that later. So you need to look good naked in your bedroom. So it's funny, it makes you laugh, but it means that your house needs to look good on you, not me. So you need to shop in your house. We have wonderful things that we had from their other house that we have actually reused here and reimagined. I mean, if it's a classically scaled piece of furniture, it really will fit anywhere if it's the client's colors. You need to do it once and do it right, so that if you can't afford to do it all at one time, don't. Just pause and then do it again. You need a comfortable conversation area and a place to put a drink. I do not want an untouchable house. So I don't want to have to push 800 tchotchkes away so I can put a drink down. So I do feel like you need to make sure that you have a place where people can feel comfortable, so it's not something that's just, you know, it's a really pretty room, but we don't go in there. I don't like that. And those really drive what I do. So that's what we try to do for our clients. Wallpaper is amazing, and people are so afraid of wallpaper, and it really has had a resurgence, and people are becoming less afraid, but I really wanted something to frame the space, to decorate it without the room feeling fat. And so then that's what we just did in the past 3 weeks. We wallpapered this, and it's this incredible Schumacher wallpaper, and it really gives dimension to the space. It leads your eye upstairs. The colors carry through the rest of the house, and it really is amazing that it decorates again without the room feeling fat. And I'm thrilled with it. Her husband is a little nervous that it might give him vertigo, but he'll get over it. It's really good. You play with different features in a space, and our lighting is fantastic here, and the client had purchased it when she first bought the house. And so it's a visual comfort Morris fixture, and so we have it here and upstairs. And so what it does is a chandelier allows light to go around, but it really kind of like grounded the space and became our jewelry. I do like the fact that it's white opaque glass. I don't want to actually see the candelabra. I think that it gives a different texture. And then honestly, when you have the white glass, you don't see bugs that might crawl in there and die, or mosquitoes that actually from your front door being open. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't want to always have to clean something, especially in a chandelier that is up high and maybe in a landing so that you have to get an extra ladder. So I do like the fact that it's an opaque glass, so it lives with you better. So this living room is obviously green. It is the client's favorite color, and she The way that I wanted to treat this room is to really saturate it. So classic Victorian house, doesn't have crown molding. We actually kept the picture molding and just painted it. And we had kind of decorated this room before we started the renovation, so we just embraced it. And so it set the tone so that everything was really tone on tone. And then we carried the drapes up really high, put a little bit of blue in there, and you can see how the chairs and the ottomans actually pull all that together. But it's about circulation. So I've got to be able to walk through this space, but I still want it to be a functioning space. We have a TV. So I'm not afraid of television. So don't be afraid of televisions, and it doesn't mean that you have to hide everything, but decorate what you see. So when I walk into the space, I have decorated what I see. And then once you actually look throughout the rest of the house, you'll realize that this is actually a focal point. And then what color is this lamp? This classic visual comfort is green. So you can see this from the front window when you drive by. So I like how it just kind of anchors this space and then carries into the adjacent spaces. So it's comfortable. You know, I like a comfortable conversation area and a place to put a drink. And I feel like that this space does allow for that. And it's got some pops of pink, which I've talked her into, but it really is, it's pretty. And when you walk in, it is very pretty off the foyer. And so then the foyer actually complements this space as well. So everything in your house really needs to talk. I don't want it to all match, but I want it to flow. The client loves to cook. She's a fantastic cook. The kitchen really needed to be something that anchored their family space. It's really where she hangs out. I mean, that's her spot, and you can have everybody walk around and then it doesn't interrupt what you're doing. She wanted to do something that, you know, you have to have some guts. And so we went with green. It's her favorite color. And it's actually what really started the whole design scheme. She was game, and that was awesome. I needed to do a black and white countertop and ended up doing a quartzite, not a marble, so hoping it could handle some rough wear because she cooks a lot. And I also wanted it to be open to the family room. And so in doing that, we have a full height refrigerator, we have a full height freezer, she's got her 48-inch range, and then she has her counter stools, and then that is all framed by my light fixtures, these great black and brass light fixtures from Visual Comfort. And so then it frames my island and actually frames the fact that my hood, normally people have hoods that are their focal point. Well, I didn't want the hood to be the focal point. I wanted it to like blend into the wall. I wanted it to be the green cabinets. I wanted it to be the quartzite countertops. And then part of my design philosophy is to decorate what you see. And so when you walk in the front door of this house and you walk through the foyer, through the bar, what do you see in this kitchen? You actually see this wall. And that was very, very important for me to anchor this wall and to then visually make that decorated so it then you can do less other places because this is taken care of. So always remember to decorate, well, my philosophy is you decorate what you see. Continue to buy art. You travel, you need to don't buy a t-shirt. Buy a piece of art, and then it is a memento from where you've been, and then it all doesn't look the same. Like I really want you to only have 2 pieces from one artist because you don't want to have all of your pieces from the same artist because you get tired of it all at the same time. You're going to continue to grow. But I felt like this was classic. They travel a good bit, and so I thought it was appropriate. And who would not like a big poster in their kitchen? We're in the scullery, and you can see how it's directly adjacent to the kitchen. And if you look past the kitchen, you can see how we have the bar and the black trim in the bar. And so I needed somewhere for her to hide her crazy. She wanted an extra oven. And so what we did is we just basically blacked it out. We put in some fantastic cabinet maker sconces above each thing from Visual Comfort. And so it gives it a little bit of a moodiness that you can hide like extras in here. And then she has all of these are full of full drawers of appliances and serving dishes and coffee makers. Really don't like coffee makers on the counter. I like a beverage area, but not at the bar because this is kind of a private space. So if you notice, if you look in the kitchen and you look this way, you're gonna see a solid wall, but you don't really have enough space to look this way to then see your mess. And we have pocket doors. So when you have a party, you can have a caterer back here and we can close you off. And then we have our family room. And so it's a big space, but it's comfortable. Don't be afraid of color. And if you notice, if you look at the furniture, we did a contrast welt on the sofas. You see the contrast welt? So layer it. I think people they're seeing more examples of it, but I need something to anchor and to define. And if you're gonna like live in a house, I kind of really don't want white furniture everywhere because it's gonna show everything. And if you notice, my drapery fabric is not some fancy fabric. It just frames the view. And so what I needed it to do is to give me volume. And so then I can anchor my room with having the darker fabric on the furniture. But it's layered, like you don't realize that this is, you know, tiny little pebble looky. And then this has got a contrast welt. And then we have some fun pillows. And then we have a green kitchen and green lamps. So don't be afraid. If you realize we kind of only have about 3 colors going here, black and white and green. And so we just have different variations of it. But I feel like that it does really work. Without overwhelming the space, it just anchors it. So if you look at the walls, they're white. The trim is white. And so what we really wanted to do is to be able to frame the space. And so we anchored it with this Stark rug. She already had some of these Ballard chairs. I feel like everybody has the Ballard chairs, but they're just good. They're classic. And I ended up doing a green pattern Palm Orleans fabric on the windows so that the background of the fabric is white, so it ties into the white wall, but it's, again, it has her favorite color green. So mix some. Like you don't want to do everything the same because then you lose it. I talked her into the pink. And she was a little afraid of the pink, and so now she says she loves the pink. And so we did it in little pockets. So you can see on these visual comfort lamps, we ended up doing this custom shade by Maison, and it really gives you, it's your focal point, and it's your focal point from different areas of the house. And then we ended up doing the Majolica around the matte mirror, and so it then pulls in the green and the other colors, and you don't realize how it talks, and it's a different medium. And then I end up having the fun pinky red shades, and then it comes to this other, and the Julu has all these same colors, and Julu's the artist, she's based out of Savannah. And so again, it's a fresh piece of art, so it's not totally juvenile, but it does make it so it doesn't just feel like a traditional painting in a dining room. It gives it a little bit of funk. We do like a little funk. And to tie it all together, which set the tone, was this fantastic Julie Neal for visual comfort chandelier with the ball light bulbs that I feel like kind of give it a whimsy. And I really do think that it kind of really all stemmed from that. Everything is still her color, but we then threw in some pops of pink and some fun texture and mixed the old, which is really traditional, with some new. And so, and the chandelier is what started it all. This is a transition bar room. It's also a jewel box. So I like to have a moment, and it really is a pivot point. So it leads you from the foyer, but it's also an extension of the kitchen. She's really cooking. She's really chefing it up. I want people to come in here and make their own drink and not get in the way of what she's doing in the kitchen. And so I do think it's a focal point. We did this beautiful green marble, and then we actually did the reeded doors, and we did this a while ago. And so I feel like it shows up, but it kind of is subtle at the same time if you're not afraid of a little black, gold, and green. And then I love painting out the trim and then doing wallpaper on the ceiling because it decorates you in the round. And then you throw in a little bit of art. I love these Artie Vanderpools that are the queen. I just think that it gives you, you kind of like a sense of humor and a little bit of color, and it's not the same thing that you have in the other room. And so it is a conversation piece, but it's intentional. It leads you to other parts of the house. Instead of it being hidden, it's part of like our social experience in this house. And it's good looking. I mean, why not? I mean, I feel like that it really talks to the dining room. I feel like it talks to the kitchen. I feel like it really talks to the foyer. And I don't think it's bad that it is part of your walkway from the foyer into the rest of the family room, that you really are walking by the bar, because it's so pretty. Like I think the green is just glorious. I think it actually makes it much more casual in how people live in their house, but it doesn't mean casual doesn't have to mean ugly. It can mean real pretty. I grew up in a house like this. I grew up in a house that had corner fireplaces, very hard to decorate with angles. I hate an angle on a fireplace. It's hard. Like the size of the room, the ceiling height, it's a lot. So this wallpaper really decorates for us so that we don't then have to have 10 feet of artwork. I can only do that in the kitchen. So, you know, you got a lot of windows. You've got big windows, but I do love to pull my drapes up really, really high, almost to the ceiling, because what it does is it gives you volume, but it decorates you all the way. It decorates, in a sense, in the round. I live in an 8-foot ceiling house, and I really do miss this because it is lovely to have this much ceiling height. In doing the primary bedroom downstairs, we obviously needed to have a beautiful bathroom, and I'm all about natural light in a bathroom, and to be able to have the double vanity, I think it's fantastic, but I need that light coming at me. And then I also like can lights coming down, and then these lights having light coming at you. So those are fantastic visual comfort lights that give you, and you can see how we made the mirrors really tall, and then the light fixture works with that, and it has that light coming at you. We did some wallpaper in here so that it would actually decorate for us, but it doesn't overwhelm. And all this leads to the owner's suites closet that actually secretly leads to the laundry room and then to the back hallway. So, you know, your house really needs to work for you. Also like a water closet close to the bedroom, because sometimes people have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and they don't need to walk all the way through a bathroom. It's a pretty space. I don't think bathrooms need to be ginormous anymore. I think that you just need to have natural light. It needs to function for the client. And, you know, does the wife put her makeup on sitting down, or does she stand up? Like, all these things do matter, but I want it to be able to be functional. And I think that this works. I feel like that it's attractive, but calm. Okay, so go big or go home. So this is her daughter's room. And again, wallpaper, because wallpaper just overly decorates. And so why not paint the trim black? So it's been a fun thing to just take something that might be a little scary and to do it. So I really felt like this was like the Victorian room. So if you notice, Victorian houses had like a lot of painted trim, so don't be afraid of it. We just did the black because that's one of their colors. And so we ended up finding, well, I found the Maryland, which is a real Andy Warhol. It's one of the ones that is licensed to be reproduced. And I found it, and it really set the tone. And so it anchored the space. And again, that was one of the things, like, just trust me. And it really works. So that's fun. And then even doing the interior shutters at a cafe height to give her privacy. And then we have even draped, so it's layer upon layer, that it actually makes the room feel interesting. But if you take this and maybe take the hot pink wallpaper off, you would see that it truly is Victorian. So a little fun. So a great stark polypropylene leopard rug, which I feel like it wears, it can clean with Dawn and warm water. And then it's actually a great bed by Maid's Goods. And so this is a fantastic bed. And again, we have masters, so you need to have at least a queen in all the bedrooms. So, and then she's got lots of friends that spend the night, and so this is just an extra spot for girls to be. So, you know, again, Augusta, we rent our houses, and so the more bedrooms and ensuite bathrooms you have, it's better for master's rental. So you really need to have at least a queen, if not a king, in a bedroom, because most of these bedrooms with an ensuite bathroom are rented, and so men don't really like to sleep in twin beds or a double. So it's nice to go queen or king. This room's got a lot of layers. I mean, the lamps on either side of the bed were at our old house, and then they're just like good classic white crackle visual comfort, and then we ended up putting another shade on them, and then that shade then flows with the mirror that used to be in her nursery, kid you not. And so if you notice, the only things that we have hanging on the walls because of the wallpaper and all the layers is a mirror and Maryland. So it really can decorate for you. And I always, again, say decorate what you see, so when you walk into the space, it feels finished. When we redid the house, this was the owner's suite bathroom. And so in doing that, we kind of kept the same footprint and we redid it, but didn't really do craziness. So I still like natural light in the bathroom. We wanted to do a shower. I like to have the water closet. We created a really big closet here. If you notice, we only have a mirror and 2 great little modern visual comfort light fixtures. There's nothing else because the wallpaper really decorates. And then we ended up putting the shade in, again, with the interior cafe shutters so that we could have fabric, but then privacy. So I think that it is fun. It plays off of the bedroom, so it's not the same, but it works. So the end result of this project is to make it a happy home for my clients. And so it enhances the way that they live. This house is great. The piece of property is great. Her husband's office is around the corner. They really are Augusta people born and bred. I do think that they see themselves staying here for the long haul. It really lives well. And that's what makes me happy, is that the house basically got a new lease on life and that they enjoy it.